The goal here is to learn about the things that work, some of the things that don't work. And in thinking about who we would talk to, we thought for our very first inaugural Zoom webinar, we would ask two of our favorite companies and two of those that we have watched grow their businesses. And so I want to introduce Lesley. It always says Lesley Strickcross, but I don't know if you go by Lesley Cross or not, but Cardinal Yard Cards in Worthington, Ohio. Worthington is just outside Columbus, which is Ohio State country for those of you that are football fans. And I know this because I have a sister that lives there. So Kristen, Lesley, thank you for joining us today.
Absolutely.
And second, we have Kristen Peterson of Say It in the Yard. She is located in sunny Florida and has a great business down there and is one of the most positive, wonderful people that we know, and we're very thankful to have her. So Kristen, thank you for joining us today. So let's go ahead and get started with Lesley. So Lesley, I'm going to try to bring up I want to share a screen and bring up some news articles. I don't know of anyone else who seems to be as successful at generating news coverage as you are. And you know what, we all know in the marketing or public relations business, if you can generate free news coverage, well, that's about the best advertising, you can get. And I noticed that after you had those two articles, you posted publicly, "We are full. We are booked up for the next 8 weeks." So let me try and share that article here, right here. Can you see that now, this article?
Yep.
Okay. So tell us a little, first of all, I want to talk about your girls and your family, the fact that you created a family business and all of that, but tell us a little bit about this article and also the one you got in the local paper and how all of this came to pass. How did you generate this news? Was it just luck or what role did you actually play in it, and what could others learn from your experience?
Both of the local newspapers, the Columbus Dispatch and the This Week, have been focused through the pandemic on trying to do some positive marketing. The media obviously has been very upsetting with COVID everything. So they've been focusing a lot on ways that companies, individuals, organizations are helping to cope through these times. And we had seen a number of these publications, and I reached out to both of the newspapers and said, hey, if you're looking for a way that local students are trying to spread positivity, let us know. Here is an opportunity that two students in the Columbus area are doing.
So you proactively made a phone call.
I sent an email to both of the reporters that I had seen covering things, yes.
So smart. And to me, you're doing it during this pandemic, but theoretically, this will all pass. And so there are plenty of opportunities for this type of thing, though. And it doesn't all have to be bad news. For example, the graduations I know have created a lot of news stories across the country and other opportunities. What advice would you give some of the other companies about, growing their business through getting news coverage? And any other ideas or thoughts that you have?
I think any time that you are able to get in front of an organization, whether it's free marketing or with a donated sign, and in exchange for reciprocating of PR, it's great. So we have donated, we started in September of 2019. We've done over 350 yards since then. So it has definitely grown significantly since that time. I would say 270 of them have been in the last 2.5 months. So it's been very busy.
So let's break that down a little bit. You said September of 2019?
Correct.
It was about 8 months ago, 9 months ago.
Yep.
And we all know that this whole business, especially you're in the north, Lesley, and Kristen is in the south. So, my guess is the south is probably more seasonal than the north. The south is probably more perennial or annual than the north is. So if you have done, did you say 270 in 9 months?
270 in 3 months. So we've done 270 since the shutdown, basically.
And so are you paying some college students or someone to help you? Because that seems like an awful lot of work.
It is an awful lot of work. Until about 2 weeks ago, no, we were doing it all by ourselves. So back to your original question, yes, this is a family business. So those are my two daughters there who are on the screen. We started this with the mindset of them being able to have the opportunity to learn how to do a business and learn how to proactively save funds for field study trips that they want to take in school. So they both have looked at some of the opportunities educationally on some of these trips. And my older one especially wants to go on all of the trips that the high school offers. And after we went to the learning night, we came out and I said, that's going to be about 12 to 15 grand of trips that you have planned for 4 years. What's your skin in the game going to be? And she goes, what do you mean? I said, well, you're going to have to help pay for some of those too. So we brainstormed as a family, how could they help do those expenses? And we came up with this. She has gone on a field studies trip before, and the whole concept is environmental conservation, learning about the environment. How do we help limit our footprint? So part of the reason that the yard card business came in was the signs are reusable. It's not the typical banner that you order for one event and then it goes into the garage or into the landfill. So all the letters are reusable. It's spreading positivity. That was another thing that they wanted to focus on. And of any of the business models that we talked about, we could focus where we wanted to take a break or we needed to walk away, we had that opportunity, whether it be for vacation or sports season. We could say no certain nights if we wanted to. That's not as possible if you're doing something like a lawn care business, because the yard's going to grow regardless. Or if you're taking care of an animal on a regular basis, that animal still needs to go out, whether it's freezing or whether it's sunny. So we wanted something that we had a lot of ownership of.
Right.
So that's how we came up with this one.
I would also say that the signs, once they get to the end of their life, are recyclable as well.
That is good to know. So,
Okay.
so they wanted that. So we started that in the fall. They had a handful of signs through the winter. Part of that may have been we were brand new. Part of that is it's very cold in Ohio in the winter, but they were averaging 5 to 10 signs per month from the time that we started until about January. And then it started picking up more and more. And right now they are doing 5 to 8 signs per night. So until about 2 weeks ago, we were doing all of it, and it was taking quite a significant amount of time to maintain this level in a non-pandemic time. I work, so I wouldn't have been able to devote 6 or 7 hours a day and work. During the pandemic, I was willing to. But we have hired 2 high school kids right now who are helping to do a lot of the pickups and driving, and one is working on helping with some of the setups right now as well.
Do you mind walking us through the economics? Let's just say that you do 5, what do you call them, 5 setups a day?
Yep.
If one were to do 5 setups a day and 5 days a week, let's just say, what are the economics of that? What's the top line number on that? Meaning, what's the total revenue that one would bring in?
We charge $75 a sign. So quick numbers, that would be 25 times 75. So that'd be just $1,800 a week.
Okay.
So for round numbers, $8,000 a month.
So $7,200 a month.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That's not bad revenue for.
Not when you're 9 and 12, especially.
Okay, that's pretty impressive.
So now we don't expect this will maintain at this level forever. Part of me almost hopes it doesn't for sustainability of evening hours. We have decided we only will install during the daylight. I know there are other companies that install after dark. With the summer, Columbus doesn't get dark until about 9. So at that rate, we would be delivering between 9 p.m. and 1 a.m. And that's not sustainable for anybody's mental health or kids' sleep habits. But we install it down between every night.
Okay. Yeah. So that's great.
There's the victory store owner.
Hey Ty, could you mute Steph for me? So let me ask about your marketing Lesley. So what is it? Is it all word of mouth, or is it, do you use some social media? What would you recommend as far as marketing?
We have a Facebook page, and we post, I would say, 85 to 90% of our signs on Facebook every night. We have an Instagram page that we post as well. We also have a business card that we leave in everybody's mailbox after or on their doorstep, someplace that just a thank you. Kids write thank you on the back of it. It's there. Additionally, we have tried early on, especially, that we donate a number of signs. So we donate to the local boosters, to the school auction, so to a graduating senior. So we've tried to hit all of the schools and say, hey, here's a sign, you can auction it off. The value is $75 to $85. Keep whatever it is that you want, and then we will provide that for your school. We've also reached out to all of the PTAs in the area, offered a school rate of $50 a sign, and we will install signs for them throughout the school year. So those have all been proactive touches that we do. And then in every sign that we put up, we encourage that person, please tag us on Facebook, please post a picture with your event on Facebook if you're willing to do so. And after every day, the kids send out an email to all of the previous day's signs saying, thank you for your order, your sign has been picked up. We hope it was, a celebration that you enjoyed. Here's a coupon for you to come back as a repeat customer in the future, and we would love for you to leave a review on Facebook for us. So it keeps them engaged, and it's also proactive motivation for them to come back in the future too.
What lessons are your girls learning from this?
It has been so much fun to see what they've been learning through this. Both my husband and I are business owners, and we don't know what their careers are going to be when they're older, but they've seen a lot of flexibility that we have had in our own careers and our own ownership. And so when they were looking at some of these trips, figuring out how much money they could make and then what the feasibility of that was really interesting to see, especially our older one. But she said, wow, I'm going to have to work like hundreds and hundreds of hours at the grocery store to be able to go on these trips. And I said, yep. Or one pandemic. That's kind of the joke that we have. But the ownership, the flexibility of schedule, they're learning hard work. We have nasty rains and winds in Ohio, and we've had hail a couple times during storms. And so the dedication of, we still go out. You received an order, this is what you're doing. As long as it's not safe, as long as it is safe, we still need to continue with that. So the dedication to that, they're learning how to interact with adults, which is something that teenagers don't typically interact with an adult kind of as a peer. So they're learning how to send billing, how to follow up when somebody hasn't paid the bills. How do we proactively reach out? What if there's been an issue with anything? So customer service has been a lot. They're also learning financial management. So both of them now have an IRA. They are working on funding those IRAs. And just this week, my younger one called, my husband's a financial advisor, but called him and said, hey, Dad, I've been looking at my stocks. Today's a good day to buy Disney. It's not a good day for Netflix, but I think it's pretty good for American Eagle. So I want to put in my trade today.
That's awesome.
So they're learning how to financially manage. There's also a lot of supply chain management that I would not necessarily have thought about, especially at this quantity that they are doing. It's not so bad when you have one sign that you pick up and one sign that you take down. But when you're picking up 5 and you're setting up 5, you have to think about, well, where are the A's and what's this color and who's got this letter? Do I need to buy a vowel and what's happening? So they're really thinking about, 1, the map, and 2, how does this work? Okay, we have to go grab Adam's sign from XYZ Street, and then we need Adam's A to put in Natalie's name, and we're putting it over here. So there's a lot of transactions that they're doing. How do we get what to what location?
So you would not know this, but the ink that we print on those yard decorations, yard greetings, is made in Ohio.
Oh, really? Okay.
And your governor did not declare them an essential business.
Oh.
They shut down, and we ran out of ink. And so we had to scour the country to find, a printer here who had a little there, and so we have struggled greatly with supply chain issues as well.
Absolutely. It's a real lesson on helping them to understand that of how this does impact things.
And overnight, the orders tripled, and the ink factory shut down. And so, yeah, learning business, and it's hard. And we've learned so many lessons. Well, I won't go on to that because it's time to move on to Kristen Peterson and ask her about her business. So, I see Kristen's out walking. So, Kristen, let's talk a little bit about Say It in the Yard in Florida. So I want to ask you first about your marketing. What are some of the tactics that you take in business, and when did you start? Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, luckily we haven't had to do a whole lot of marketing during this pandemic because our customers are really doing it for us. It's a lot of word of mouth right now, but same as Lesley, we have a Facebook page. We also have an Instagram, and that is really driving a lot of traffic to our website and getting customers. Prior to the pandemic, I was doing ads on Facebook as well to obviously drive traffic and get the orders in.
First of all, when did you start your business?
We started last May of 2019.
You're essentially 1 year old. Congratulations.
We are, and sort of in a roundabout way. We started this through, I actually just acquired the business probably about 3 months ago. I also run a nonprofit, so we started as a fundraiser for our nonprofit. And I was the only one doing it, so I decided to give them a scenario which would be a win-win for everybody, where I would purchase the business, I would buy them out, and then they would get 10% every single month, so they're still making income, and then I would employ those that are part of the nonprofit, so it's a win-win for everyone.
Oh, nice. And talk to us a little bit about how many orders you got at first, and then what it's grown into.
Sure. Well, when we started a year ago, we were maybe getting 2 a week. Not much at all. Very similar to Lesley, we're turning orders away at this point. We are doing anywhere between 4 to 7 orders a night. So, I mean, I'd say in the last 3 months, we've probably done at least about 300 orders. Wow. Since the pandemic started.
What do you charge, if you don't mind me asking?
No, not at all. We charge $50. It's a little bit different here. We are definitely trying to, we do have a lot of competition in this area. We have a lot of the franchises out here, so we're trying to stay a little bit on the cheaper side than they are, but we also want to make sure that we are not devaluing ourselves. And we have a lot of people that are in the service industry, so very low income in this area. So we try to make it affordable so that everyone can afford us.
Sure. And so you do some Facebook marketing. Are you doing any other marketing other than that, or even your unpaid marketing? Are you using various social media platforms? And I know you've got the little sign that you put up with your decorations.
Yeah. Correct. And we leave a little informational brochure with every single sign. And we leave about 5 business cards as well, so that we ask them to pass them on to their friends. And anytime that they refer us, or if someone says, I was referred by so-and-so, that person automatically gets $5 off their next order. And they can do that up until they get a free sign. Usually after their fourth referral, we will give them a free sign. So that really helps. And we have a lot of repeat customers. Every single time that I really like Lesley's idea that afterwards they send a little thank you. We do something the day of, just confirming the order, and let them know that if they review us on Facebook, then they will receive a 10% off discount on their next order.
Okay. Can you see my screen now?
I can.
Okay. I assume everybody else can as well. Lesley, you can see my screen? Okay. So, Kristen, talk to us a little bit about your theory or your strategy. When you come up with designs, what are you trying to do? This looks like, I just loved this design.
This one my daughter actually came up with. My daughter is an art major in college, and I was trying to think of something to welcome summer, and everything I was doing I didn't like. So I just told her, this is all you. I need you to go outside and just come up with something and call me when you're done. And I absolutely love how she has all, the signs at different levels and just kind of made it look like a wave. Absolutely loved it. The bad thing for her is now when she's at school, I'm constantly taking pictures and sending them to her and saying, what do you think? How does this look? What do I need to do to make it look better?
Tell us a little bit about this one.
This is actually for my son. This was the day after my son enlisted in the Army. He is a high school senior. And I wanted to let the entire neighborhood know that how proud I was of my son, that he enlisted. He made the decision as a teenager to enlist in the service.
It's a great way to send a message, isn't it?
Absolutely.
And I noticed that you do the flamingos a lot, flamingo flocking.
We do. We certainly do. That's how we got into this business, actually. We started out with the flamingo flocking about 5 years ago. And I just kept saying, I see all these cows and chickens and all these other things on, other companies, and I really want to get into that. And now the yard cards are really kind of taking over and become quite a big thing here in our areas. I'm sure everywhere, especially during this pandemic, but the flamingo flocking is really what got us started.
And what theme is your most popular? Is it birthdays?
It's definitely birthdays. Right now, graduation is getting up there as well, but it's definitely birthdays. But it's not always the standard birthday. People really want to be able to personalize their greeting. So yeah, having sets for happy birthday makes it easy, but you definitely want to make sure that you have enough inventory to be able to, holy cow, somebody is, 40 or 50. We're getting a lot of that. And
talk to us, if you would. I'm going to just flip through some of your designs, but
sure.
Talk to us. Is there one, if you could go back a year ago and tell your 1 year younger self, hey, you're doing the right thing, but don't make this one mistake, what would that be?
Well, something that I do now that I wish that I had done back then was set up everything in my yard, whether I stake it in and put it up or just lay it on my lawn to see how it looks, because some colors just should not go together. And I found that out the hard way by doing one that afterwards I look at it now and I think, that looks terrible. I can't believe that we still got business after that. You really want to make sure that it's pleasing to the eye.
And here's a picture of your little advertising card that you can put out there. Do you ask permission from the owner before you do that, or you just put it out there?
We just put it out there. We have been to a couple of gated communities where apparently they do not allow any type of solicitation, and they've had to take it down. But if that happens, then that's fine. But we figure that's part of our rental, and we do have that in our agreement as well.
And I notice on yours, instead of an email or a website, you have a phone number.
I do. When we had these signs made up, that was when it was still part of the nonprofit, and the website address is super long and just would not fit. And I do add in my emails that texting is better. It's just easier for me. Obviously, I'll take a phone call if they call me, but my phone's been ringing off the hook, so these signs are working.
Yeah, and I'll throw out a little piece of marketing advice, since that's something I do a lot of. When you do put a website address on a sign or anywhere, do not put the www. It just wastes space. Mm-hmm. And browsers don't need it anymore. So you just say it in the yard.com or whatever, just do that. Anyway, I'm not telling you, I'm just everybody that's listening. So
that's great advice.
Yeah, let's go back to Taya. I don't know if Lesley's muted, but let's go back to Lesley. I want to walk through some of Lesley's designs. And first of all, this is obviously, this is just beautiful. Talk to us a little bit about your strategy here. I see you've got the letters going between the glitter. It looks like glitter silver and glitter gold.
Yep.
Talk a little bit about your design strategy. And do you have two levels, like a basic and a deluxe or anything like that?
In terms of payment for anything, no, all of our, if you get gold, you get silver, it's all the same pricing. All of our letters are 18-inch. So I know there's a lot of questions that get asked on the Victory Store page and other locations on what size letter should I get? I want big letters. We went with the 18-inch letters because some of our yards in Ohio are not large enough for a 24-inch letter. And because we do have a lot of winds here, the larger the letter, the larger the design, it blows quite heavily. So we do have two physical levels, though. There is the bottom row, we're on that one, it says Caroline, and then we use an H stand for the back level. And then we kind of adjust throughout to make sure that it's a filled image.
Yeah, that's a beautiful design. What are your thoughts about colors and balance and that sort of thing? And who comes up with your designs?
The kids do. They do all the staking, all of the yard color pulling and everything. So when the orders come in, we have a binder, we print off the order, and they come in. We have a website that people order through, and we direct everything to the website. So we get Facebook messages, sometimes we get personal messages or phone call or emails. And we always tell them, please go to our website and fill out the order form there, because that's where they can give us their address, their design ideas, they have the date, any specifics on that too. So we've gotten away from asking, what color do you want? Because if they all want blue, someone's not getting blue. So we ask, what are their favorites? Tell us about what are their interests, their hobbies, their events. And then we can highlight those appropriately. So they may say their favorite colors are green, purple, and blue. And then we look and say, hey, we have purple letters, let's do purple. And they do dance and soccer. Well, soccer balls are getting used there, we'll use the dance tonight. So we gather enough information that we can filter down to make it then what we need it to be.
So you can see which one is up here now.
Yes.
It's the least favorite of all your designs of mine. So let's talk about your little advertising sign here. You don't have a phone number, you've got a website.
Just our website, yep.
And so you drive people to your website. I see it says cardinalyardcards.com, easy, yep. Short, easy to remember. And then they fill out a form and that is emailed to you, is that right?
Yep, the form comes, it's right through our website, it comes through email, we print it off, and then it's in a binder by the date. So the kids have that binder and they can go through all of our letters we store in the garage. We used to store them in the basement in a storage room. And we decided that it was too much to take them up and downstairs every day, especially right now. So they're all in our garage. And they go through and they pull all the letters and they set them up in piles. And everyone gets a yard card PR sign. They check the spelling, they check the names, they add the decorations. And then when we get there, they kind of have a vision. So,
great. Tell us a little bit about this one right here, the Thankful for You and the school bus.
Those are some of the local bus drivers. So the building behind them is the bus depot where all the bus drivers meet every morning and every evening. And that's another way that we've done some PR. We set that up for them. Nobody ordered that, but we try every month at least to think of somebody who might deserve or need some extra TLC and put a sign up for them for free. So we showed up at the bus depot and we put that up one evening, and I had emailed the bus admin guy and told him we were going to do that, asked permission. He thought it would be great, and he proactively gathered some of the drivers and sent us the picture of them, but they were really touched. We did it the week of Thanksgiving.
Very creative. So to all of you listening, if you have a question, go ahead and put it in the chat now, and then I'll direct that to either Lesley or Kristen. Lesley, let's go to the same question that I threw out at Kristen. If you could talk to your younger self, 1 year younger, what was the one thing business related that you would say, you know what, you're doing great, don't do this one thing? What would it be? if anything?
Well, we shrank our location to 5 miles for a 5 mile radius. So when we first started, we were doing a 10 mile radius, and that was just too much. I know there are some in the industry that they will go up to 45 or 50 miles.
Wow.
I'm not willing to do that. Kristen's like, no, no. And we looked at time is money. So what are you worth, and teaching that for, especially with the kids business, on, yes, you made $75 to put this sign up an hour away, but it took you 4 hours to do that. Going, coming back, going, coming back. Does that make sense for you? What is your time worth? So we really looked at what region was a good area for us, how far we were willing to go. And we also decided proactively, how are we going to store our letters and what look are we going for? So we have all the same font. It's through Victory Store. We use the KG Last Time font. And we like that font a lot, and we decided we're going to do that font and the 18-inch letter, and that's kind of our look. So sometimes we get the big franchises in the neighborhood, and we might get big sign jealousy, as we say, and they're like, oh man, that's really big, or they've got like an 8-foot letter. How did they do that? And then we have to bring it back down to practicality of, mom's not driving a 5-foot number around, sorry. And how are we going to do this long term? So just being true to who you want to be, and kind of putting the blinders on and not worrying about what the other guys are doing and looking at your own. That's been more of our focus.
And you're profitable.
Yeah.
So, okay.
Absolutely.
Kristen, wait, before Lesley, so you say 5 miles is your radius?
5 miles is our radius. Now we have you just mentioned earlier, have we expanded or hired anybody? Just this week, we finalized to add another family in a neighboring territory. So they're going to join Cardinal Yard Cards, and they are going to take on a different market, but still under the umbrella. So I think they're actually listening. Hi, Lily and Jen. But we're super excited for them, because we've been turning business away in that area because it's 12 to 15 miles for us. And so we're excited for them to get started and serve that population. And it's another student, and that's really something that we wanted to stay true to our business model on, of student run, helping other students reach their own academic goals.
Jen says hi, yay.
That would be them.
So, Kristen, real quick, because I want to get to all these questions. Kristen, what is your radius? What's your range?
Our travel area is 15 miles. However, we will, for an additional charge, we will go up to 30 miles. We charge $1.10 per mile, anything over 15 miles. I am lucky enough that I don't do any of the pickups. I do I do pay people to do all the pickups for me. So that's a huge help.
Okay, perfect. Okay, let's go through our lightning round, okay? I'm going to go Lesley, Kristen. Here we go. Lesley, do you pre-stake or stake when you get to the home?
Everything is pre-staked. When we ordered our letters first, we found out that you get 1 stake per letter. So if you order an alphabet of 26, you have 26 stakes, but we put 2 stakes in every letter. So if anybody is starting or planning ahead, we put 2 of the easy stakes in, or 1 H stand, so they don't spin in the wind. But we leave them all staked all the time, because it just takes that much time away.
I should change that. I should send you 2 stakes with each letter. Let me work on that.
That would be awesome.
Really good. Kristen, real quick, stake or pre-stake or stake?
Pre-staked. You're wasting too much time when you get to the house if you don't have it pre-staked.
Yep.
That's good. All right, Lesley. Actually, let's start with Kristen on this one. The Happy Birthday Caroline setup. Where did you get the happy birthday signs?
That was from a private printer that we worked with to have printed. So we get most of our stuff from Victory Store, but we've also used some other suppliers, and there's local print shops that will also print on Coroplast too.
That's exactly right. And we appreciate all the business, but we certainly understand we're not the only suppliers in town, so do what's best for your businesses. Mm-hmm. Kristen, how do you keep track of your inventory?
Well, I'm getting a little bit better at it right now, but I now have a spreadsheet that
once I clean it up, I don't mind sharing it, because before that, I was really just going off of trying to remember what was out and looking at pictures. And I don't suggest that. You definitely need a spreadsheet, or you need it on paper. Know how many letters you have, because otherwise you're going to try and figure out, okay, how do I come up with an I? And one little tip, if you run out of things like an I, find a candle, because a candle is great to use in place of an I.
Yes.
Very good. Lesley, how do you keep track of your inventory?
All of our inventory, as I said, is in the garage. We store it by color, alphabetical. So there's a red tote, a blue tote, pink tote, and they're all put away by letter, alphabetically by color. And then we also have totes by theme. So school theme, stars and balloons, winter theme, sports balls. So we know what it is. And then when orders come in, similar to Kristen, we know, hey, Jimmy wants basketballs. So we cross off basketballs for that day. So-and-so wants the water polo ball, that's gone for that day. So all of that is recorded in the binder that we keep.
Very good. Lesley, you can start with this one. Do you ask the customer to take a picture of their yard?
We do not. It's in our contract or the PR that we send out that we will be taking a picture. We actually take a picture of every sign and send it that night to the customer. One, that helps us know exactly what was put in that yard, and two, it's documentation for them. So pretty much before we pull away, the kids have taken a picture on their phone and they're emailing it saying, thank you very much for your order. Your order's been set up. Here's a picture of it. We'll be back tomorrow evening. As a reminder, please don't mow while the sign is up. Please don't tie balloons to it. Don't move the sign. We'll pick it up. Don't worry about that. It's waterproof. Thanks. Have a great celebration. So they get that. We try not to include an address number just for privacy if possible, but we've not asked if we can take a picture or not.
And I have to think almost 100% of customers are taking a photo of themselves and uploading it to their Facebook or social media.
Yeah.
Kristen, what about you on customer photos?
I do. Whenever I send out my confirmation email that I received their order, part of it is I ask them to send me a picture of their yard for a couple of reasons. I go out at night, so it is a lot harder at night to be able to tell if I'm at the right house sometimes. You can't see the addresses. So I want to make sure that I'm at the right house, and I can pull up the picture through email and see, yes, this looks like the same house. And it also lets me know if there's any type of slope or hill that would prohibit me from putting the sign somewhere. A lot of different things for setup that it really helps me get the whole picture before I get there. So I'm not having to take the time once I get there to try and figure out what I'm doing.
Got it. That makes sense. Lesley, are you able to discuss with us the business arrangement you have with the new family and other families that you might give some territory to?
Yep. So we formed an LLC. So it's Cardinal Yard Card LLC. They will be a part of that LLC. They will receive a paycheck through us and be 1099 for that. They own their own inventory. So there's a contract with them and with another family that is looking at a different territory. We want it to all look the same. So they'll be ordering very similar products to what we have, maybe with a couple of variations for color to fit the school coloring in their area versus our school coloring. But they will have the same font, a lot of the same graphics, so our setups will look very similar, kind of to continue that look that we're going for. And then at the end of every month, they will be 1099 for 85% of the billing that they bring in. But we will handle all of their ordering, all of the billing for their customers, and getting them the details for that order. So we're keeping 15% of that for the behind the scenes office.
Okay, great. And so here's one. This person would like to set up early in the morning. Are there any objections from customers about setting up early in the morning? Lesley, and then Kristen.
I've not offered that. We do have the request for after dark often. If we know the area and it works in our schedule, we will try to install as late as possible, but we can't promise that.
Yeah, it's interesting. People want their child or somebody to wake up and boom.
Yep, they want to see it.
Yeah.
And selfishly, I don't want to get up that much earlier if I've already been out that much later. So we haven't really offered that.
I'm with you. No early mornings. Okay. Lesley, how about you? Talk to us about setups.
Or
Kristen, sorry.
Well, I do set up late at night, and I will tell you, it is very hard getting up in the morning after I've gotten home at 1 o'clock in the morning. But as far as offering early morning setups, for me, it's not possible because I do work a full-time job. So it's not possible. But if someone is getting into the business and they want to do that, you can do whatever you want. It's your business. If that's what you want to do and you want to put it in your contract, absolutely. You just have to make sure that you communicate that with your customers so they know exactly when you're setting up. And if they are not okay with that, it's up to you whether you want to deviate from that.
Kristen, what about an invoicing system? What do you use?
We use Square. I have used PayPal in the past. I just really like Square. To me, it just offers a little bit more for me because I can also, if I take something over the phone, I can go into my Square account and enter a sale manually as well, which I can't do with PayPal. So it's just so much easier than I have all my invoicing in one place and don't have to go back and forth. But PayPal works great too if someone wants to use that.
How about you, Lesley?
we use PayPal and Venmo. The Venmo, I would say, is about 90% of how we get paid anymore, and there's no fee associated with Venmo, so we like that. And then we can download every month the sales that we've received through that as well, and it captures their email addresses. We also do PayPal as well. It's a little bit more cumbersome because you have to go in, you send the invoice, you make sure they got it, but we can do that as well. And we still accept checks periodically. After the newspaper article, we had a number of grandparents contact us, and if you say Venmo or PayPal, they didn't know what those words meant. So we still accepted some checks, and that was fine.
I was surprised you said Venmo because I love Venmo. You know, everybody under 25 loves Venmo. But that 90%, I mean, that's reaching well beyond the 20-somethings.
Oh, absolutely. It's quick. And one person did double pay. She said, "I'm so sorry, I double paid." And, you know, we just sent it right back to her. And then on every printout that we have this little paid stamp. And this is my younger daughter's favorite thing. So after the invoice, she just, comes in. So they go through and they check who paid, and she just goes through and stamps through.
Okay, excellent. What about theft? You ever have any challenges with theft, and any thoughts on that? No problems.
It's not been an issue, no.
Kristen?
I have. I'm now luckily not like letters or anything, but I have had graphics stolen. I do have it in our contract that if there is any damage done, then the homeowner is responsible for that. But I can't really tell whether it's, I mean, I guess I can't with damage either, but I can't tell that if the homeowner was the one that stole the graphics or not. So I didn't charge them, but it is in our contract that if there is any damage, they can be charged for it. That one time that it happened, I did not. But yeah, we have had some things stolen.
But it seems like it's not very often.
No, it was one time, and it's not something that I really think about. My signs do stay out overnight, and I really don't think about it. And I do also have it in my contract that we can, if I get to an area and I don't feel comfortable with it, I can just go ahead and cancel that order. It's at my discretion. If I don't feel safe, especially going out at night, or if I think that my products are going to be stolen, then unfortunately I will let them know that we could not complete the install and cancel their order.
Okay. What about tax? Is there sales tax in your states? How do you deal with that? There
is. I don't charge it. We will pay it quarterly.
Okay.
We treat it as a service, and we will pay our taxes quarterly.
Okay. Kristen?
Same thing.
Okay, good. And then, boy, so many questions. So taxes is built in. Do you use a particular program for e-sign contracts, or how are your contracts handled? Lesley and then Kristen.
We don't actually have a signed contract. It's more of an agreement of here's the deal. I guess kind of a gentleman's handshake, if you will, but we put it's on our website. Here's the expectation. It is on the invoice on PayPal under terms and conditions. We put it in an email to them.
Yeah.
We haven't been burned, but we
300 times and
right. We haven't been burned. We do say in the contract that any loss of letter or damaged product, there would be a fee for it, $10 per letter, or up to $20 per graphic. And we do carry an umbrella policy for our family, for the business. Heaven forbid somebody trip and fall on one of our signs and they're injured. We have that kind of as a
What type of, do you mind telling us what an umbrella policy like that might cost?
It's cheap. It's like $10 a month.
Wow, that's great. That's so great. Kristen, any thoughts on that issue?
We do not have them sign a contract. However, we do have we have our terms and conditions, and then we do ask them, do you agree with this? And they have to check yes or no. Before the order will go through, it will not allow it to go through until they've checked that option. And same thing. Now, we do not have insurance yet. I have been looking, but it's a little bit, we're having an issue with insurance companies understanding the type of business this is. And we're getting quoted crazy amounts. I mean, it was like $300 a month, and that's a little too high for me.
Yeah.
Lesley, can you expand a little bit on your umbrella policy?
It's basically a rider on top of our homeowners policy. So it covers us and our setups. So that was something that was set up through our homeowners insurance. You may also want to look into a malpractice type insurance. I carry one of those as a counselor. There's some different offerings that may cover people too. And those are not ridiculously expensive, up to about $500 per year.
Very good. And so final question, if somebody wanted to reach out and ask you a question, A, would you be willing to answer questions? And B, Lesley first, what would be the best way for people to reach out and ask you a question?
They can email us, cardinalyardcards@gmail.com.
Cardinalyardcards@gmail.com. That seems easy enough. Yeah, and put it right there. There we go. Thank you, Lesley. And Kristen, what about you? If somebody wanted to ask you a question, would you entertain it, and how would they reach you?
Absolutely. They can, again, reach us by email. It's info@stayintheyardfl.com.
Stayintheyardfl.com. Okay. Well, you guys are wonderful. Thank you. Appreciate your time. There'll be a little victory store. Thank you for both of you. And good luck. Kristen first, any final comments? If you could give one piece of advice to people trying to grow their businesses, what would it be? And then Lesley, I'll come to you.
I think when I first started, it really seemed daunting, and don't let anything scare you away. This is a great business. It's a lot of fun. Ask the experts that, this group is a great resource for getting information. Don't hesitate to reach out and just go for it.
That's great advice. Lesley?
If it's not fun, take it a step back. This should be fun, and it can be profitable, and it can very well be your income or a second income, but this should be fun. You're trying to spread joy for people, help them with celebrations, spread positivity. And if you're bitter about it, you're going to put up a half-hearted message, and that doesn't help them. So I think making sure for your own mental health and your own sanity, if it's not something you're having a good time with, take a night off, step back, hire somebody to help with it. But you can walk away or you can pick up more. So balance is really important.
That's great. You two are wonderful. We love you. We appreciate you. Thank you. And to everybody watching, I know people are saying thank you, and everybody appreciates the intellectual property that you've been willing to part with, because we all understand that IP has value. So thank you for that. And everyone else, feel free to reach out to us, info@victorystore.com. I know we're busy right now, but that's not going to last forever. So Thank you. And this will be recorded. I'll post it on the Facebook group for everyone to be able to see later. It'll be on YouTube probably by tomorrow. So thanks all, and we'll see you next time.